representation of the Earth data. The data is collected on about in the concern with the study of shape and area of the Earth. Geodesy or geodetics, it is concerned with the study of shape and area of Earth. Earth is a wide area, so and it is study and it is a component of geoinformatics. So one of important. So this geodesy is defines the shape and dimensions of the Earth. So it's throughout its two important branches. So Earth, that is shape and area of Earth, is studied by geodesy. So it is a main two branches. They are gravimetry. So that is gravimetry that deals with the determination of Earth gravity. So that is attractions of objects from the above of the Earth. So that is one of the important deal with the study of determination of Earth gravity and its anomalies. So that is called as gravimetry. So and another one is positioning and astronomy. Positioning astronomy. So what is astronomy? So that is a position of the, so that is a globe through the observations of stars and artificial satellites. So observation of stars and artificial satellites. So under the study of, so it is a geodesy, measurement and collection of data. So that is under the study of Earth gravity and its anomalies. So that is. And what is cartography? It is one of the components of geoinformatics. So that is what is cartography. So the cartographic representation. So cartographic representation is one of the key in deciding the fate of any map. So Earth map. So that is any map. So it is generated out of various geoinformatics analysis. So what is map? So that is it is a representation is the key of in fate of any map. So that a map is a manual or mechanical drawing. So a map is a manual and mechanical dropping of the whole. So it is a dropping of whole or part of the Earth surface on a plane or surface to a particular scale. So is measuring the Earth surface. So that it is a map. So Indian map, world map. So the Earth map. So that is, it is a graphical presence. It is a graphical presence, that is data, a graphical presence data process. So that is it various natural and cultural phenomenon and the extent of the study area. It is the main discussing about the cartography is so that is collection, that is the data process and among various natural and artificial phenomenon of the areas. So this cartography is a science and art of designing. Cartography is a science and art of designing. So constructing and producing a map. Constructing and producing a map. So that is a map. So cartography is a designing and structuring and producing a map. Designing the map, structure and producing a map. So it includes almost every operations from original field work to a final pointing. So then finally marketing of maps. So that is cartography. So that is designing the map. So designing the map naturally or so this is called as map. So the structural representations, it is measured in different ideas. So it is a science of human communication. So map is also called as so human communications. So according to this international cartographic association, so according to international cartographic association, so it deals with the conception, production and dissemination and study of maps. So that is, so cartography is a component of geoinformatics. It identify the Earth area from the graphic representation of the Earth area data. So that is. So and another important component is remote sensing. So already yesterday you discussing about remote sensing. So this remote sensing is also known as many. So it is mainly collection of data about the object. It is mainly remote sensing is mainly a collection of data and about an object through a mechanical device called as remote sensor. With the help of mechanical divisor, so we collection of data through the collection of data about an object with the help of a mechanical device called as remote sensor from a. So it is a distance by measuring the other objects. So interactions it long distance. So this is easily identified with the help of electromagnetic energy. With the help of electromagnetic energy in different wavelength of electromagnetic spectrum. So this remote sensing technique is an important monitor or measuring. So it is important monitor or measuring a Earth lithosphere. So Earth lithosphere, biosphere, hydrosphere, and atmosphere. So that is Earth surface. So that is biosphere. So that's hydrosphere, mass of the Earth surface. So that is and hydrosphere. So measuring the water, and finally the atmosphere, environmental uh, nature. So it is the remote sensing is mainly a monitor or measuring the Earth, this Earth biosphere, lithosphere, hydrosphere, and atmosphere. So it is improved. So that is remote sensing is improved in ability to receive. It is nowadays in the advanced technological involvement. So it is an important ability to receive and record information. So remote sensing is also now it is a physical ability to receive and record information about the object. So it is physical contact with them. So it is remote sensing uses photographic cameras. So remote sensing with the help of photographic cameras are to record information from visible. So with the help of visible or near infrared wavelength of the electromagnetic spectrum. So this is the remote sensing. So the for the study in the geoinformatics information. So done. So this is like another one is a global navigation satelliting system, that is called a GNSS. So it is an umbrella term referring because the constellation of artificial satellites. So that is orbiting the Earth with global coverage. So it is GNSS, that is Global Navigation Satellite System, consists of space, that is space control and user segment. So this space segment consists of a GNSS satellites like space vehicles that send from space radio signal from space. So this controlling segment consists of a system of tracking stations located. So it is tracking the stations locations around the world like master control and monitor network. So this GNSS work on the Earth surface. So there are many. So at this present, so there are mainly two fully operations of this GNSS. So this United States of America, so global positioning system, and Russia, so global nerve system. So that is besides these, European Unions are also expected to operations of this navigation systems. So that is and another important, we should geographic information system. So geographic information system. So this geographic information system, so also study under the geoinformatic systems. That is a graphical information system. So it study and integrates the hardware, software, and data for capturing, managing, and analyzing the displaying. Finally, analyzing, collection, analyzing, and displaying all forms of geographically uh, related informations. So geographically refer. So this GIS is based on the different aspects like tools, the organizations, and special database. So then this is geographic information system. That is another in this photogrammetry. So this is aerial photographs display a high degree of a radial measuring topography. So that is photograph is identified for long distance. So it is a measurements about the position and shape of the object with the help of aerial photograph. So this is so the many countries like some of the countries like America, the American Society for Photogrammetry and Remote Sensing has defined photogrammetry as it is a hot science and technology of obtaining a so many related information about the physical objects. So this and finally, we should components of geoinformatics is computer science. Now it is a fast growing technology. So without computer knowledge, so the how we survive. So that is important. That is computer science is a fast growing branch of science. So the informatics collection of information storage and display. So this informatics has a discipline comprises of both the computer technologies like hardware and software. With the help of hardware and software, so comprises the computer technology. So this computer science is an important role of information. So derived from our necessity to manage this complex data in every field. So the collection of data, storage, and display it. So this computer science is a knowledge of science. So that it represent and process applicable information about the development of hardware and software. So it contributing in the improvement of our activities and research. So in the any activities and research field, the computer science is a major role for storage of data and display. So this applications and usage of computer science to geoinformatics is go hand in hand. It without this computers, so that is components of geoinformatics. It is an important. So you are now a familiar with the components of geoinformatics. So now get a that is acquired well with a geospatial data in the computer science. So this is components of this informatics, geoinformatics. So this geoinformatics is an important role in climatic change studies. So that is what is the advantages of this than the baseline climatic data. So that is a very important source of geospatial data and products. So we should discussing in this topic. So number one, geoinformatics in climatic change is, so what is the advantage? So we shall discussing about these data sets. Is advantages. So advantages is offered by geoinformatics. So advantages is offered by geoinformatics. So to understand the role of geoinformatics, in climatic change, it is an important related studies. So that is advantage. So according to different scientists like Allen and reporter, so global climate are a changing and the warming, so the trend on Earth mean surface temperature. So it is affect in Earth surface temperature. So it is around 19th century. So that is around 19th century. So that is a requirement of geoinformatics data. So that is a main advantages for derivations of the information required. So this is so climate change studies. So that is the climatic change. So in the study of this MEV 24, so that climatic uh, studies is important. So that is the climatic change is an important. So it requires continuous observations of several atmosphere. It requires a study of observations on several atmosphere, ocean and land. So ocean, atmosphere and land is an important studies. So that is both surface and subsurface. So that is parameters over a wide range of spatial and temporal scales for monitoring. So for monitoring, collaborations and validation. So this earth climate. So this earth climate requires both observational data and model simulations. So this is an and also along with you learning about remote sensing, it is useful for identification of these parameters and their understanding a dynamics over different spatio-temporal scales. So we should understand some of the summarize the climatic change. So before you studies, we first that is we should understand and summarize the climatic change related to information. So this provided by geoinformatics. So this provided by informatics. For example, so deviation of the indicators of climatic change. For example, deviations of indicators of climate. What are the indicators? That is biophysical and climatic parameters, climatic change. So humidity, temperature, carbon dioxide, light. So that is soil. So that any changes on their parameters. So it is by mapping and estimations. It map it and estimate it. So that is so this derivations of the indicators of climatic change and their mapping or estimations. So then what is the and then finally the monitoring the indicators over space and time at local or regional or global scales. So it is so this specific advantage of geoinformatics for climatic change should be understand a provide a synoptic coverage of the earth surface and atmospheric. So this possibility of derivations of this large number of climate related parameters and data products. So that is the collection of data is a product. So data product, it is possible from the large number of climate related parameters. So this data from different satellite missions, data is collected from different satellite missions, and also source could be merged to provide the long-term data sets. So this availability of standardized data useful for global and regional scale analysis. So this analysis is should understand. So then another important is climate data. So that it understanding in the data from satellite remote sensing. So data from satellite remote sensing is widely used for developing prevention, mitigation, and adaptations measures to their impact on climatic change. So data from satellite remote sensing, it is widely used for deriving these mitigations and adaptations measures. So some of the major breaks, some of the important major breaks through in the use of satellite remote sensing data has been studied or contributed. So that is, what is the another one satellite so this contributed. So number one is understanding, so understanding warming characteristics of earth atmosphere and ocean surfaces. So understanding the warming characteristics, warm temperature, the heat. So when sunlight is coming beam on the oceans, so that is any area, the temperature is increases, so that is our warmings are appears. That is, so understanding of warming characteristics of earth atmosphere and ocean surfaces. Another one, so that is role of distant aerosol sources in genesis of hurricane. So that is source of, what is the source of this factors we should understand. So some of the climate related phenomena, some of the climate changes phenomenon and related some remote sensing is derived from climate variables. So that is number one is atmospheric variables. So that is, and terrestrial atmospheric variables, terrestrial variables and oceanic variables. So that is atmospheric variables. So that is very important. Under this, we said it radiations budget, both surface and upper area. That is terrestrial variables is also called as a soil moisture. That is in atmospheric is a precipitation. So is measuring precipitation. So in terrestrial variables is a soil mixture, and oceanic variables is a soil sea level. That is which, so that is upper air temperature. In atmospheric variables, any variables, so that is atmospheric variables. So atmosphere having a lighter gases, and terrestrial variables is a photosynthetically active radiations. Photosynthetically active radiations. So that is in oceans, they are ocean salinity. So that is ocean, you have a rich salt salinity. So that is photosynthetically active radiations in terrestrial variables. So that is so essential climatic variables. So that what is the variations in the climate, that is either changes in climate change in terrestrial, atmospheric and oceanic. And in atmospheric surface area, so that is what is the variables, that is wind speed and directions. So wind speed and its direction, that is either as a surface or surface area and upper air. So the, and in terrestrial area, that is a land cover. So and in the oceans variables, that is a sea state, that is a wave height. So direction of wave and wavelength and time period. So that is water vapor, cloud properties, carbon dioxide, ozone. So all these atmospheric variables, terrestrial variables and different uh, areas. So this some of the even also some of the phenomenon and relevant remote sensing derived in climatic variables. So global warming, why the global is warming, that is in climatic variables. So near surface air temperature, near surface air temperature, so the sea surface temperature is identified. So these are all what is the sources of geo special data and products. So a variety of remote sensing data and several derived products from many satellites are available. So that is HTTP, that is data in the websites are present. You collected data and studies. So that is, so all these studies and geoinformatics conditions. So GIS in integrated assessment models. So that is limitations of geoinformatics for climate change studies. So that is, what is the limitations? So that is, there are different points that should be kept in utilizing the geospatial data and techniques. So that is, so for example, suitability of remote sensing data. So that data is suitable for users and collection and uh, so applying. So that is, so these are all some different systems. So that is different satellite system. So maintained, so for and storage. So this is satelliting systems. So, and another important we should understand this topic is, what is the applications of geoinformatics in climatic change studies. So geoinformatics, so that is one is the and applications. So so that climatic change is a natural process. Climatic change, mainly we should understand it is a natural process. So climatic change is a natural process that has already started affecting our environment, already affecting environmental change. So already it affects the environment. So that is our livelihoods and ecosystems. So and this offer a great challenge to the global community. So any changes in the climate, it affect to the global community. So that is, so this accelerating a pace of climatic change, it combined with increasing populations. So that is and growth and income. So that is, this threatens food security, increasing population growth and income. This threatens a problems to food scarcity. So this climatic change parameters and their interactions with the sequence parameters are naturally variables. So this satelliting remote sensing under these studies. So that is, it is the use of satellite borne sensors to observe, so that is measure and recording the electromagnetic radiation reflected or emitted by the satellite remote sensing. So this important application studies. So any changes. So geoinformatics in climatic change, it is an indicators of climatic change. Geoinformatics is an important indicators of climatic change. So this assessment of agents of climatic change. What are the assessment of agents of climatic change, such as greenhouse gases and aerosol? Greenhouse gases, carbon dioxide, there are many. So mainly carbon dioxide. So greenhouse gases and aerosol, their sources and distribution patterns. So that is one of the important geoinformatics in climatic change. So that is modeling the impact of climatic change or various natural resources that helps in planning toward the adaptations, measures, and preparations. So this and this GIS in mapping these systems. So that is, we should understand this of these geotropics, tropics. And another important topic we should study is human under the study of assessment of land surface temperature. So analyzing the urban heat highland. So land surface temperature. So in the climatic change, so the land surface temperature, that is called as LST. So it is over uh, a good indicator. So climatic change and is a good indicator to monitor physical properties of earth surface process. So this land surface temperature, so is a significant impact on analyzing the environmental issues. For example, such as urban heat islands, soil moisturing, and vegetation, which can play an important role in exchanging bioprocess of water and energy between land surface and atmosphere, between the land and atmosphere. So what is the interchanges and interfunctioning should by land surface temperature. So that is important. So another important is human health is facing the problem in climatic change in the under the study of climatic change. What is the human health? So that is it is a projected changes in climate estimated by intergovernmental panel on climatic change. So it is likely to advance effects on human health. So that is majority of will yeah disproportionately on poor populations. It is mainly disproportionately on poor populations. So the impact on human health. So mainly it impact on human health. So that is it needs to be quantitatively assessed with a systemic evaluations and well designed epidemiological studies. So health is being a geographic issue. Geoinformatics can be useful for important tool. Geoinformatics is an important tool. So it can be used for the analysis of diseases vulnerability. So it is help for geoinformatics. So human health. So is important analyzing the diseases vulnerability, health patterning, and climate management through the collecting, uh, updating, and managing the health data. So that is important work. So this is important. So and another important topic of this topic is that is geoinformatics for climatic change, adaptation, and disaster risk reduction. So disaster risk reduction. So reduction. So it is important. So that is climatic change is a truth. So climatic change is a truth. So that some of the researchers, scientists, that is questions. So nowadays many scientists is think fast and asking the doubt. So because climate is a truth that some of the scientists questions the human activities, mainly the human activities induced global warming is overpowering. So that is so this therefore this substantial doubt. So substantial doubt about the effect remains. That effect is always remains. So increase in average temperature, increase in average temperature and rise in sea level can lead to the coastal area and particularly a small islands of vulnerable. So this fluctuations in rainfall patterns, the temperature fluctuation, rainfall fluctuations. So his rainfall pattern may cause droughts in a specific regions and floods in others. So that is rainfall is increases or anywhere. So that's floods is in increases in some areas. So that is so apart from this focusing on communities, it is also essential integrating social initiations is a part of government policies. So what are the this objectives we main? We explain the disaster risk reduction and climatic change adaptations. That is what is adapted. So then so role and satellite system in the disaster management. So that is role of satellite system in disaster management. That is concept and principle of risk management and early warning system. Explain the special data infrastructure in GS. So this climatic change adaptations. So that is it defines. So that it defines the amendments in ecological social, and economic systems in response to a climatic stimuli and its effects. It stimulates the climatic. So it is a ecological and social and economic systems. It responds to a climatic stimuli. So it benefits from present climatic variability, even also so that is anticipating climatic change. So this many of these events, so risk and negative consequences also increases. So climatic change adaptation, it is a significant decrease in various adverse impacts and increase in useful results. That is, it is impacts and increases in useful defects. So this climatic change adaptations is past several years through the adaptations and its users responses in organizations. So this disaster risk reduction, so it is a complex interactions between the human and natural ecosystem. So that is disaster risk reduction. Disaster risk reduction. It is a complex interactions. It is a complex interactions between a human and natural ecosystem. It results in a disaster, any damages, any disturbed in natural disorders. So it is strongly that there is a, but there is no absolute changes in natural disaster. So this disasters is mainly possible happens when a natural phenomenon, so a hazard such as a earthquake or flood, it dangerous earthquake, it is a main disaster and loss on earth surface. So flood is also, it affect the human population or a community that is exposed and vulnerable to it. So this risk is exposure to the hazards. So it is mainly the populations is decreases this from uh, floods. So that is a disaster risk. That is risk from, so that is vulnerability, hazard, so affects and exposure risk, and how much it's risk and its measures. So that is severe. It is a severe damages. So that requires. So national developmental policy is an disaster risk reduction, DRR. So that is a disaster development risk reduction and climatic change adaptations. Disaster risk reduction and climatic change adaptations, the DRR and CCA. So it is an integrated at the natural level through India's throughout India's. So this promoting climatic sensitive disaster management, it is in planning and implementations for controlling how. So that is integrations of climatic change adaptations and disaster risk reduction in developing, how it develops. It is a plan. It is a plan how it develops. So that is, so reduction in environmental and socio-economic impact of climatic change, it related a disaster risk requires, it is effective coordination between the different levels of government at a natural level. And so and in the national level, so the policy maintaining the development, international development policy. So CCA and DRR is an need to integrate it, and it's included with all the development process and budgets. So this is what is the role? What is the role of another important discussing? What is the role of satellite system in disaster management? So that is so. what is the main role of satelliting systems? What is the main role of satelliting systems in disaster management? Satellite system in disaster management. So this disaster management, see, it is a vital identity of the information requirement. So that is information, it is a wide range of information requirements and their sources. So collection of informations and their sources, where it is information is collected. So that is, it is a disaster management framework. So this data, so this information, so that is identify the information requirements and their sources. So this risk assessment, that is under the study of assessment tools. So this it is a risk of assessment and vulnerability analyzing. So that is prediction and warming of disaster occurrence and rehabilitation plans. So it is a measure determining, that is the satellite image of a capable of detaining. So that is we should discussing in this disaster occurs. So that is disasters uh, occurs in when many speed of information collections, that is from satellite, information collection from satellite, and the possibility of information dissemination. So this is also very very important topics in the under the study of uh, this geoinformatics components. And another important is risk management, and so that is early warning systems. So that is so what is the risk main? So what is the risk of this management? So it is risk is essentially is the probability of injury to life or damage to property and the environment. Any problems, any damage in the environmental factors, so natural factors, it is an important risk. Flood, earthquake, so it is a major disaster damage manage disaster that is disaster management and its damage in the natural systems. So it is a major risk. So disaster management, it is a risk to a collective vulnerability of the community. It a problem to the community of the earth surface. So it is risk how it assessment, so measured, that is a risk assessment. Risk assessment is a phase in a risk management process. So under the risk management process, so that is so major quantitative risk assessment. So quantitative risk assessment requires a estimations of the risk. So these are all discussing about today topics, that is what is the concept and principles of early warning systems. So that is reduction in the loss of life and property, reduction in the loss and life of property, early notification of emergency services. These are limitations and applications. So reduction in loss of life and property, early notifications of emergency and services. So that is also important. So then how it improving the opportunity for traffic control. So these and reduces, finally reduces the stress. So this forecast timing and accuracy is important for measuring the parameters are used to measure the effectiveness. That is, so this quality of warming system design and operations in the environment climate. So how it fluctuating the warming system, so warming level, that is a amount of human and economic loss from the this warming systems. So that is so finally we knowledge and implementation of timely and appropriate actions. Finally we studied of the warm temperature in the climatic conditions. So that is we should knowledge and implementation of this timely and appropriate to options. So this level of general satisfaction with the warming services. So this services is very important, and it is a sound knowledge. So that is what are the technical requirements of this system. So it is a sound knowledge of meteorological and hydrological model of the catchment. So this is an important information communication tools for this topics. So this is the what is the use of GIS and remote sensing in supporting Earth surface, that is Earth warming system. In the Earth warming system, so use of GIS and remote sensing is a play a major role to discuss. It is a technological innovations have provided efficiency. So this many questions asking this topic, that is what is risk assessment, that is and what is different components of the this geoinformatic components, that is what are early warming systems, that is what are the structural and non-structural measures in minimum impact of natural disasters, how it earthquakes and floods are developed. So these are all asking the questions in GeoInfra. So this assessment tools, that is geo processing tools and a special information systems also, that is a discussing. So the GIS dictionary. So this geo processing, a GIS is an operations for manipulating GIS data. It is finally today to discussing a GIS is operations for manipulating GIS data. So it is a geo processing operations take place in a input data set, performance, collection, and operations in the operations from the data set. So this. So today to discussing this geo processing discussions, geoinformatics, so many remote sensing, so the how it affected on the earth surface. So to discussing this today, so that important topic that special data infrastructure in India, that is also, so that systems. So disaster risk management is a process for designing, implementing, and evaluating strategies, policies, and measure to improve the understanding of disaster risk, foster disaster risk reductions, and transparency. So this promoting continuously response and recovery practices. So this disaster risk management and early warning system, EWS. So this early warning system, it is a set of capacities needed to generate and disseminate a timely and meaningful warming information about the communities and organizations. So this it is mainly threatened by a hazard to prepare a appropriate reducing the possibility of harm or losses. So this is finally discussing. So any doubt? That is Ambuj Kishore. So that is Pratnya Sindhu. So madam.
Yes, sir.
So yes madam, today topic is over. So that is
Over, sir.
so
Okay.
after is
Any
the
doubts,
PPT is submitted to groups madam. So I will
sir?
so next
Yes, sir. Please send out the
the
PPT,
PPT
sir.
is sent.
I'll
Yes
share with
madam, yes madam,
students.
definitely sending to groups. Okay madam, tomorrow at
Yes, sir.
6 o'clock. Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Yes madam, thank you.
Thank you, sir.